G.
Okay, guys.
Bestest Mench. Having my wand of control.
If I had $1 for every time we said
Control
technical
issues.
difficulties tonight.
Oh, wow. We are on the late bus, but it's great to be here and with you guys for Racers Talk with DC.
Yeah.
Derek here, co-hosted with Brandon Bestest Mench.
The Bestest Mench.
And this is going to be fun because we kind of had a little wager before we went live on how to say our guest's last name.
Go for it.
It is Jake Opatrny.
Close enough. You're next.
Wait, let me see it spelled out again.
It's
Opatrny?
That was 99.9% spot on.
Okay.
Yeah, Opatrny. You kind of put a little
Opatrny,
bit of
that's gotta say it a little bit quicker.
bit of euphemism on the
Okay,
on the
Opatrny.
end there, but yeah, that was absolutely right. So bravo.
Opatrny. And he likes to go fast, right?
I want to go fast.
If you're not
fast.
first, you're last.
Well, isn't that the story of drag racing to begin with? Like, there's only two people racing at the same time, but
So if
we're not
you're-
talking about 4 wide here.
If you're not, no, we don't talk about 4x4.
No, we don't.
No.
It's a sore subject.
Yeah. Even in sprint car racing, 4 wide, it's hit or miss. So, well, we have a great show for you. Please comment where you're watching, listening from.
Adjusting things on the go because Facebook
Yes.
likes to be a little weird here.
Yes. So just a reminder, Crane Racing, we are having a survey here, and it's really just so that we can use that to show potential companies on who we're racing in front of. And we are offering 4 gift cards to 4 different winners. As you can see, that's what's in this little jar here. Is Brandon's moving everything.
As I'm moving everything.
Yep.
To get that right angle, except for I think that's probably going to also be bad.
Yes. Thank you, Karen, for watching. I think you're from Florida. We have a person from Florida watching us, tunes in a lot. So thank you so much, Karen.
I think almost every week as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a super fan. We need to do something special for them. And then also my wife Ashley upstairs. So far away.
So
But yeah,
we're going to adjust again.
So if you guys do the survey, just comment on our Facebook page that you've taken it, and then we will enter you into the raffle. We have a $10, a $20, $25, and a grand prize of $100.
Your name could be in here.
Yes, if you've taken it, it's already in there. So yeah,
And you can't be in there twice.
No. And the drawing will take place on Labor Day on I almost said the
I
guess.
thought you're not supposed to do anything Labor Day on Labor Day.
Well, this is Labor of Love, so I'm going to keep going with it. I love wing sprint car driver Jeff Affa and TB watching. Yes, dude, I heard my boss took a few laps on practice on Friday, and word is at work that he is lucky that seat's taken by TB and Sully,
Oh,
because
boy.
I heard that he would have.
Up and coming sprint car racer?
Oh yes. His onboard looked pretty legit too. He looked really good. So yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. We have a very packed show, especially considering we're 35 minutes late or 30 minutes late just because of our technical difficulties. But Brandon here, with a little sprinkling of Jake, we figured it out. I included myself in that, even though I was just clicking buttons.
It's okay. We'll be doing some research.
Was that
to
your way
figure
of saying
out-
that I'm trying to take all the credit for this?
Yes, yeah, no. But like, I have no knowledge on technology. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So thank you.
We like to pretend we
Anything
know what
outside
we're
of-
doing.
Yes.
Anything
Fake
outside
it
of
till
the
you make
sprint
it.
car.
Fake it till you make it. Exactly.
We'll be looking for some new streaming software,
Shortly.
and that way we don't have to deal with the shortcomings of Facebook Live and the things that we've been dealing with tonight, which we didn't have last week a problem at all. So I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but to the show.
Yeah, to the show. Onwards and upwards. All right, so our topics for tonight. Originally I had 4, but we actually went down to 3. First, we're going to talk about the Steel Block Nationals and could the Wisconsin Wingless make it better? The 604 winged build-up race for the fair night at Wilmot on Wednesday, and then we are going to be talking Top Fuel racing here. And then we got quite a bit of viewer questions. So we're going to have to ask you, and it's going to be great. And then we're also going to be talking about what's upcoming with Wilmot with the fair. Awesome. So topic number 1. Presented by Next Gen Pumps, the Steel Block Nationals and the Wisconsin Wingless. Could they make it better? So basically, the Wisconsin Wingless is a steel block engine. It's a 350. The steel blocks down in Indiana are just open motor, like any motor you want. It just has to be steel block. But as it being a nationals, it wasn't televised or anything, so I had to watch from. You remember last guest, right? Ryan Marshall.
Yes.
Yeah. He went down there.
Ryan Marshall.
The Ryan Marshall, and he gave them a Wisconsin butt whooping. Down there, it was great.
He showed up for the Wisconsinites.
Yes, there's a few Wisconsinites that went down there, and he showed them what's up, which is great. And I don't want to put any pressure on you, but our show is actually doing really well because he came on and then has gone 2 for 2 for wins since being on our show.
Sweet.
So yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good, Jay. So he won his heat race, and then he also won the feature. It was a nail biter, but I can only find it from a live recording from one of his team members. So to me, nationals, you'd hope it would be streamed a little bit better. That was Friday night at Gas City, and then he went to Montpelier for the next night. The whole series did for the nationals, and it rained out. So by virtue, he won. So it was great.
You mean with all this rain we've been getting, they were rained out?
What a shocker! They got the rain, and it was sunny here.
It was sunny here.
And then it's sunny there now, and it's raining up here. Yeah.
Not that we didn't need it. It's been one of the driest summers as far as I can remember.
Seriously. So Marshall won it. Bryce Andrews, he got a solid top 10, which is really good. I think he finished 7th or 8th.
Okay.
So that was good. But yeah, so this topic is like if the steel blocks could work together with the Wisconsin Wingless as a series as a whole to make it a nationals. I mean, it would be cool to have 2 Indy tracks and 2 Wisconsin tracks as a part of a mini championship. But you guys don't have a lot of knowledge on the steel block stuff. So, do you guys have anything though? We're talking to someone that goes really fast.
I mean, the only thing that I have to say about everything that you've said so far is you were mentioning that it was one of the driest summers that you ever remember, and then the 2 events that I ran this year, there were rain delays on the qualifying sessions. Like the one qualifying session in Gainesville, this year was completely botched due to rain, and we had rain delays in Chicago when I ran there. So funny that you say it's been the driest summer that I remember. And when I go racing, there's rain delays.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I mean that kind of. I know you've got a question about how that qualifying works.
Yes, I do. Actually, yeah, we'll switch topics real quick.
Switch it up.
So my question, because we had, like I said, quite a bit of your questions, but I had one. How do you like qualify and for drag racing and like I don't even know
what is the
it
structure?
works.
Of
What's the structure?
Because like we do, you have like the qualifying, and then you've got like heat races, and
then the B main, and then the A main.
So it starts out with the amount of cars per field. At an NHRA event and a top fuel ladder, there's 16 spots that are eligible for going into competition on race day. So if there's less than 16 cars, 16 cars or less, every car that shows up will qualify. But if there's more than 16 cars that show up, there will be, let's just say, 18 cars fighting for 16 spots.
Okay.
So obviously the number 1 qualifier runs the quickest elapsed time to 1,000 foot. And the bump spot, which is number 16 on the qualifying ladder, is the slowest time, which is eligible for competition. So let's just say there's an 18 cars have entered. They're fighting for 16 spots. There's 2 people that aren't going to race that day.
And what would you say from making it to not making it? What's the time difference?
It can be thousandths of a second. It could be 1/1000th of a second. It could be a tenth of a second. But we're talking about just minuscule fractions of a second here.
Wow.
That can decide if you're going to be racing on Sunday or if you're going to be loading it up on Saturday night. with your tail between your legs. But there's a lot of other factors that could decide that. Track conditions have a lot to do with it. The altitude, the tuning setup, everything.
Yeah, my boss brought this question up. Like, he wanted me to ask you what setup tuning things can you do to a dragster? Because like with the sprint cars, we can add tilt, we can take tilt out of it, we can jack weight around, we can move our rear tires in, out, we can change our wheel offsets, like we can change our shock valving and all that. Like what's like a few of your go-to like setup changes if there's any?
That's above my pay grade, or that's a conversation above my pay grade because I'm still very new to the sport.
Okay.
Sure, like, you can change your what I know, you can change your nitro percentage, you can add more blower overdrive. That's just scratching the tip of the iceberg of what I know and can say confidently what I know you can and, what you could do. But, my day job, I run a piece of machinery. I'm a operating engineer through the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150. So, when I get in the seat of that car, the only way I view it is I'm just I'm operating a piece of machinery.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's my philosophy that I take into the driver's seat with me. But in terms of what you did when you said this is the stuff that we can change, like that's all just scratching or just scraping the tip of the iceberg of what the changes you can make. And in Top Fuel and in drag racing all across the board, it's a very similar conversation. Like we start off on very common variables, and then the more you talk about it, the deeper that goes. And obviously, if I knew more, about tuning the car and what goes into that, I could sit here talking to you about that for hours. But
so
unfortunately, and same thing with the sprint cars, right?
Yeah. Like so, in the sprint cars, like you can run lead. Right, you can run right front lead, left front lead. Mm-hmm. So if you run left front lead, the car's not going to want to rotate as much. But if you run right front lead, the car's going to try to rotate a little bit more. Are your front tires straight up, like straight, or you got a little bit of lead in it?
They're pretty much straight up. Maybe.
Okay.
Those are inflated to around 80 psi.
Those little tires are 80 psi.
Yeah, those little tires are 80 psi, and the rear slicks are at depending on the track conditions, maybe 7.5 or 8 psi.
That's more sprint car talk right there. Yeah.
And,
holy crap! 80
and at the
psi.
at the hit, the bead lock on the rims is nearly kissing the concrete. Like it may be maybe just this far off the edge of the racing surface, and then when the car gains a little more moment, a little bit more momentum, the tire bounces back up and.
Man, okay, yeah. So this is my boss here, Jeff Curcio. He said tire pressures for hot, cold days, sunny, not sunny. Like, is there a lot of change? And like, what are like your increments? Like half pounds, or like they kind of get a little bit aggressive?
Well, it could be. From what I know, it could be 1/10 of a pound, could be half a pound, a full pound. Like,
man, wow, that is. I am shooketh. Actually,
normally whenever we run, it's always somewhere in between 8 and 7.5. That's when I run with the team I run with now, the Leverages.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So we start the night off with 12 pounds in our right front, 10 pounds in our left front, and then we'll run maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 if it's going to be a ready track, and then our left rear will run anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds of air. So 80 pounds in those little
80 psi in the fronts, and that doesn't change, and you wonder when you look at those little 10-speed bicycles that have and they can fit over 100 psi in those things.
Yeah. What do you know what the reasoning with that is? With the why? I'm just like I said, I'm just blown away. That's 80 pounds. It's 80 psi. Is it just because of the speed and the tire delaminating, or
that I'm actually not too sure of? But I know it's I'm going to say it's small tire syndrome. So those.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Man, that was really. I learned something today.
Really good conversation while I'm trying to mess around with the settings on the computer.
Yes.
Perfect
timing. Yes, because if you guys watch, I get distracted pretty easy what's going on the screen, and so when Brandon's over there messing with the screen, I keep
Yeah, rolling resistance, perfect. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, the less amount of contact, the better.
Gotcha.
Less amount of surface area.
Yep, that's Tom Brown from Next Gen Pumps who brought this topic up. So yeah, awesome. We'll get into the 604 wings really quickly. So there's an average of 32, 33 wingless cars in the Wisconsin Wingless. And not all of them are putting wings on. But on Wednesday, how many cars do you think are going to enter? Just think about that for a second. They say that there's going to be about 20, but we can kind of wager. And I'll go last. And then we'll see on Monday who is right. Yeah. But yeah, so the build-up for the 604 wings, I know Team MSR, Clumco race team, Hafford Motorsports, Dan Wade Motorsports. There's a lot of teams that are bringing a bunch of cars for this. Ooh, Tom Brown says 22. That's a good guess. Okay. I'm going to say 19, just because it's a really good number. So, with the Wisconsin Wingless, like I said in the previous podcast, I just don't think it's the right year for the 604s to divide and possibly make another series. But we're here, so let's go for it, I guess. Right? But personally, I can't really see how the Wisconsin Wingless and the Wing 604 can survive. Unless there's a lot of people coming in the next 2 or 3 years. But the money is good. I will say that. Money is good.
Money's always good.
$1,000 to win, $355 to start. So in the Wisconsin Wingless, it's like $550 to win, or $550 to win, and $175 to start. So you're doubling if you've just finished last. So that's a good on that part. But personally, I don't think the racing is going to be as good as the Wingless, just because of how good the Wingless has been this last 12 months. Just this year alone, there were 2 photo finishes, 4 last lap passes for the lead, not including those photo finishes either. And guys moving from the back to the front. 400 horsepower, 420, 430, whatever you want to call them on horsepower, with that wing that can produce on a 410 over 1,000 pounds of downforce. But that has twice the horsepower.
But then you don't get the drift as much.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
I watched a
I don't know if that would be as fun.
No, it's not. When you're going this way.
I'm when you're sideways, that's what it's at, right?
Yeah.
Not that you ever. I guess something's going wrong if you're going sideways.
Yes.
Very wrong.
And you better well be out of the throttle by then.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, and hard on the brakes and everything. Oh my goodness. But I can't imagine. Well, I don't want to give away some of the questions in the game, but we'll get to that. I'll get to that one. That I'll ask you when we get to the game. But if you 3, 2, 1, go. If you guys haven't seen Team MSR's YouTube video from their onboard on YouTube, it is really good. I think it's just kind of cool. I watched it this morning with my boss. Obviously to watch him do his laps and everything, but just watching Tom Brown and Mike Sullivan drive the car, it's just kind of different, because it's when you watch as a non-wing guy watching someone, you're like, ooh, you're not driving it into, you're not driving it deep enough. But then they have the wing on it. I'm like, how are you going to make it around the corner? Because you have no pitch in the car, and they get right through the
corner.
So
right through,
it's something crazy. And I'm going Wednesday to watch. I'm going to pay fair admission to go and watch that on Wednesday night. But like I said, the other issue that I have with it is it's another class. You have the MSA and the 305 race savers that are in the area, and the 604 might be compatible with them, but there's nothing like a motor in that series. Okay, Tom Brown says we aren't trying this to make another series. We just want to try a wing. We wouldn't do this on a regular basis. Okay, well that's fair. Okay, that's good. That's fair. there's just other things that I've heard that I'm not going to say on the podcast just yet that I feel comfortable saying yet. But I feel that there's I would not be surprised in blank years to find something else happens. But yeah, so Tom, appreciate your opinion, but I'm going to finish my thought as if this was going to be a series. So if the Wisconsin Wingless tried to do a 350 class in Indiana, it wouldn't be that special because there's like hundreds of non-wing 410s, 900 horsepower cars, and then you're going to bring a 400 horsepower engine class or whatever. So,
yeah. Mind if I ask you a quick question?
Yeah,
you've driven both types of sprint cars, right? The wingless and the winged? Just wingless?
Just wingless.
Just wingless.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm basing this off of me and not driving the other one. I would love to drive. I'll drive anything though. Like if I had a shot to drive a four banger, I would drive a four banger.
All right.
Oh yeah, up top over the cushion. A modified, a street stock, and mini spec. Like if I could drive anything, I would drive anything I could possibly. I have a traveling seat with me at all times because you never know. And my gear. So
not sure if your gear would be compatible with a nitro car or not. Probably not.
No. You guys look like you're dying just sitting there, or at least
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So I guess my thing would be like if this was to turn into a series, I don't know how much it would bring to the state of Wisconsin just because it's a winged and you have the IRA and the 410s and then you also have the 360s up north. But I get if it's just for fun, it's for fun. But 1,000 to win, you're going to bring out the big boys, And also the other thing that to be aware of would probably be the more wear on the engine based off the wing. Pushing downforce on the car, and the car's got to pull it out. The engine's got to pull it out. So, that's just kind of what I got. I know you guys aren't really following the 604 wing stuff, but the build-up has been great. I've seen a lot of pictures of people putting wings on the cars, and it looks cool. I saw an argument that's the wing pitch and all that, and I'm assuming you got to run them flat as possible because then less downforce, because you just needed the sails to help you get through the quarter. Anything you'd like to add, Brandon?
Not necessarily, no.
No?
No, not really. I've been to the sprint race before. I think it's cool with the wings.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cool in my mind because I like the physics of it, right? Like, just knowing how much downforce they're creating. And it's cool because all of a sudden you just see this giant cloud of dirt going right up into the sky.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool.
For
it's
the low
cool.
pressure.
But I like a good old just gonna send it feel into that corner.
Yeah, my dad said just watching a non-wing car to a wing car, it's like the way the wing cars race. It's like if you're an archer. You have to pull, but you can't just release the area. Like, you got to wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake, and as soon as he makes a mistake, you let it go, and you just dive for that hole. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do in a wing car. But the wingless, there's no downforce. No downforce means no dirty air, so you can get a little bit more closer to the guy in front of you. But it's going to be interesting. Like, Ray Stevens looked really racy at practice last Friday. That's good, because that's the other thing. Like, I'm all for all classes. Just because I don't agree with the way one does one way or whatever. But as long as the racing's good, it puts butts in the seats, right? You came out how many times at Wilmot? Once? Just the one time I saw you, right?
Yeah, just the one time.
Okay.
That was my first time at Wilmot in about 17 years.
Wow.
And the last time I was there before I came over and reintroduced myself to you that one Saturday night. I went there for I think it was my 10th or 11th birthday or something. And I heard your name come over on the intercom, and I was like, I know this guy. Him and I are friends on Facebook. So I walked over to the pits and looked for you, and lo and behold, I'm like, hey, looking for Derek. Where is he? He's like, oh, this is his pit right here. I'm like, oh, No kidding. Well, I'll just wait here then.
Yeah.
So, reintroduced myself and,
Yeah.
reconnected, and that was the seed that, that I planted to be here with you tonight. So
Exactly. So, yeah, I kind of actually skipped over this because with technical difficulties, we're kind of moving the show and topics around too.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Exactly. That sounds like a race car driver that wins a lot. They
call that ambition.
Yes. So Jake and I worked at K1 Speed when as I was leaving and he was coming in. So we probably only worked together maybe a month. I feel
that was how many years ago was that? That was almost 10 years. That was 8 years.
Yeah, that was
8 years ago. 2015, 2014.
It was 14. I left in October of 14.
Yeah, I think I started in. I can't remember if I started in 14 or 15. I think it was 14.
Yeah. That place was fun, especially when you worked there.
Can you still? Yeah, I mean, the horror stories of the stuff I've seen there. Working as an employee, it's still fresh in my mind. How about you?
I'm sorry, I was starting to read a comment. If we're talking horror stories, I got a few of them.
Yeah, we won't mention that.
Yeah, no.
Our secrets I will keep, right?
I'll tell you one of them. Well, I'll tell you one of them. I drove the track backwards. Not while there's another race going on, but I did test a cart out because I was a pit supervisor. And I was like, can I...
track one backwards is really fun.
It is.
At Buffalo Grove.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they... they put the new safer barrier system in there.
Yeah, no.
So, the corners got changed up a little bit, but when they had the, that collapsible portable barrier system, I drove that track backwards one time, when the place was dead and we were closing up.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
It is. It would be it's just way too dangerous.
Yeah, especially with that
dangerous.
Turn. Well, that turn coming in, right around the, what was that? That would have to be that would be the south wall, kind of by where the
Red
people
Bull?
come in. Yeah, no, not the Red Bull wall. That's the opposite side.
Yeah. Okay, right where the pit supervisor stands with the computer.
Yes, like the straightaway that comes into that hairpin.
Mm-hmm.
You would literally bomb into that curve at 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour if you were on them.
That and you had braking bumps too. It added so much more character to the track. I really wish that they would have put it that way.
Yep, yeah, and the rear end of the cart would hop over as you were slamming the apex.
And you just hope that no one was watching you because then everyone would want to do it. All right. So, real quickly, we have a comment here from Eric Wilkie. Ever heard of him, Brandon? The latest new winner in the series. Congrats, Eric, at APS. That was a heck of a race. I was cheering for you in my car sitting in town, so that was good. Just my 2 cents, but if any new wing class was to happen around here, it should be a Race Saver 305s, so we can go anywhere in the country and run with the same car. We are currently on an island with ours an MSA package. Yes. When this was probably 2018, 2019, I had to coming to myself okay, what am I going to do with sprint car racing? Because not that it's bad to just race at Wilmot, but I want to do more than just race at Wilmot. I'd love to race USAC, World Outlaws, All Stars, MSCS. I just want to make it to the professional levels, IRA, that kind of stuff. And I talked to Doug Shank, and I was like, what should I do? Should I buy a Badger midget to go midget racing, or should I buy a 410? And Doug told me I should buy a 410 because you can run that anywhere in the country. You can run in a non-wing car, you can run in a wing car. With the stuff that I do down with Spike, the chassis manufacturer, they make fun of me all the time. They're like, yeah, you're from Wisconsin. You're all those guys are up on an island. We don't understand why you guys just isolate yourselves. So yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I just wish, and that's kind of more the reason why you go to North Carolina, because they have national classes and more so on pavement. Go to Indiana, California, PA for your sprint car stuff, because they have the exact same equipment that the pros have. And if you're running it might not be the best equipment, but you're still running the same stuff. That just makes you better, and then it gets you to that level where, it's just the 604s is very fun for, weekend warrior stuff, but it's kind of hard to go from that and then jump into a 900 horsepower car and then go, oh, you can't just mash the throttle because it wants to take off like a spaceship.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he knows how that goes.
Yeah. So Eric, I completely agree with you. It'd be nice to have even with the wingless cars to have the 305 because that's injected. So at least you can get yourself familiar with injection. But that ship has sailed. The Wisconsin Wingless is super, super, super successful. And I hope that they continue to be successful just because of the show they put on. Like I said, but we got off topic a little bit. But yeah, the Wing 604s. I'm going Wednesday. It's going to be great. Hopefully see a lot of friends and family there. I'm going to be cheering. I don't know even really who to pick or who I'm going to bet to win. Like I saw earlier in the comments, we had 22 guesses, or 22 car, 17, 21, 20 car entry guesses. So we'll see 22. Oh yeah, I just scrolled it back up for whatever reason. So I mean, if I'm gonna try to pick the podium right here, and I'm gonna say. Not in this order, but the three guys, it going to be Sexton, Radar, and Klemko, Chris Klemko. Because I don't know if Natalie's racing, but I think that's going to be the podium. And I'm going to say, BK. Ooh, BK's running too. Brian Costan. When he was younger, he was just as good as Tony Stewart, if not better. So, BK, man. Oh, okay. Replace Klemko with BK. Those the top three, and then I think the biggest surprise is gonna be Greg Alt. I think that's the top three and the surprise, and yeah. So our next race, I'm gonna be back in the 14. Oh, the 13 looked really fast. Who's in the 13? Ray. Because Jeff said there were some cars that he didn't recognize, so just trying to get some faces with the name. Oh, Klemko didn't practice. Yeah. So, while you guys are answering that, we're racing on the fair on Saturday in the 14 Fat Furrow car, which I'm really excited to be back.
Yeah, and this is at the Kenosha Fair,
County Fair. Yeah,
Kenosha County Fair. What is the Kenosha County Fair like, and why should I go to it? Because I've never been there.
Oh, you haven't been there?
No, never. Oh. I've been to the McHenry County Fair, but never the Kenosha County Fair.
So he doesn't know all the good stuff that's going to be there, right?
Okay.
Like everything that you could imagine.
So first thing that's going to be at the fair is cheese curds and beer.
Of course, Wisconsin.
Beer.
Yeah.
Brats.
Lumberjack
games usually. Yeah, you can't go
lumberjack games like axe throwing and what
like
else?
Hammerschlagen.
Like usually they have like the one where they're in the log on the water.
Oh, the log rolling.
Yeah, the log roll.
Do they do Hammerschlagen?
I can't remember.
If not, you should. Although that is a hammer and nails and beer all mixed in the same thing, so I don't know. Liability.
Yeah, the three of them mixed together, Nick can never go over well.
Yeah, no.
Tractor pull.
Pig races. Oh, you got the pig races?
Yeah, pig races.
Ashley's never been to that fair.
Yeah, so you're going to be racing at the Kenosha County Fair.
Yes, and I failed my wife. I've never took.
I can't believe it.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, that's a fail.
Okay. Wait. She might be busy Saturday. I hope not. But if she is, she's making money with photography. Yeah, so I'm going to be racing Saturday in the 14 AJ car. Been a couple weeks out of the car. So
yeah, I was going to say. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it always takes me a lap to knock off the rust. After that, it's back to live music, race season's live music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really any reason to not go. I mean, it's all just a good time.
Yeah. I mean, a top
They're
fuel.
I'm sure they're gonna have demolition derby too this year.
Oh yes,
I think
they have
every year.
stuff every day, which I'm really excited to get to. So there are 2 nights, Wednesday night and Saturday night, with your normal Wilmot classes racing. On Wednesday, it'll be street stocks, modifieds, and the Wing 604s.
Okay.
And then on the 19th, they'll have the mini sprints, the wingless, and the 410s, wing cars. Either night, you're going to see a great race. I just saw that and I was triggered.
Oh God!
I think I'll.
that was
No, sorry, there's a comment. It just triggered me.
Yeah, so we've had some technical difficulties.
Maybe it's
this
me.
year with the car.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah. So, but Tom, I always say Derek performs pretty well under pressure.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really do this on live, but I'm gonna ha-ha it just because I'm in sport.
That was good. That was a good one. That one definitely got me.
I just saw a 14-2 push. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yes. Although I will say the 3 nights that I remember the most this year in the 14 car, because I know we're getting a little off topic, but the 3 nights that I remember in the 14 car this year was the night we took the lead and I jumped the cushion, the very next corner, like an idiot.
Idiot.
Yeah, like Dwight in Dwight's voice. Yeah. The first night where we were supposed to start 17th and it shut off and to 24th and then we finished 13th,
Yep.
which that was
awesome.
very fun. And then the other night where we were supposed to start 3rd and it shut off and then I had to start 24th and we finished 8th. Yeah, those are the 3 nights, and other than that, like. So yes, when it double pushes, as long as it stays fired, I know I'm gonna have a pretty good memory. However, the last time at Wilmot, it wasn't the engine's fault why Sivia spun in front of me and I hit him pretty hard, and we had to go back and then had a right rear go down. So yeah, not that much fun, but yeah. So yeah, live it's crazy. Like the to get back on point here, the track officials normally have to kick me, Marshall, Team MSR, sometimes Tim Cox, Bryce Andrews. Like they have to kick us out of the pit because it's late. And they're like, we need to lock up. You guys need to go. On fair night, everyone will like leave their trailer and they'll go see the live bands after the races.
Okay.
So you got live bands, which I didn't do that much research. I think they start around the time towards the end of the racing. They might be playing like all day, but like the good bands play usually after the races.
Yeah. That way you can hear them.
Yes. You have all the carnival rides too.
Yeah, carnival rides.
Yeah, so it's great. So here is the full layout of the fair. All right, so on Wednesday, the 16th, gates open at 5, action starts at 6:45, and the racing is free with fair admission. So you buy a fair ticket, you go to the fair, you get to go see the race for free. That is the Street Stocks Mods and the Wing 604s. On the 17th at 5 p.m. they're going to have an antique tractor parade, and then at 6 p.m. they're going to have a tractor pull, which is going to be great.
That's a good time.
I heard the more you drink, the faster they go. I don't think that works for you. You're already going so fast.
Are they moving?
Yeah.
Does that one have a jet or is that the turbo?
Yeah. So I believe that one's free with admission because I didn't really see that there was any additional cost for that. So that's Thursday. On Friday, gates open at 6 p.m., rodeo at 7 p.m., and that is going to be $10 additional. And then $1 for kids 3 to 9, and kids 2 and under are free.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a rodeo before, but I went to my first one when I used to work for Snap-on.
The rodeo clowns alone are worth the price of admission.
It is a good time. I'll tell you what, like I was down in North Carolina near Greensboro, and we happened to have an event, and we went to a rodeo, and it was flipping awesome. I had a blast. So, rodeo's a good time. I'll be honest. I had never gone to one. I've gone to the Kenosha County Fair since I was very little, and I don't think I ever went to the rodeo. We did. Did you grow up going to the county fair? No.
No, I mean, we would go to Wilmot.
You'd go to
a
Wilmot.
lot. So yeah, I don't think I've been to a fair really until we were racing there though.
Racing there, yeah. So growing up, they used to have like a kids tractor pull, you know, like the little like pedal tractors, right? Same theory as a regular tractor pull, and it would be just a contest between kids in like your age groups and like age and weight groups. But I used to do that as a kid. There, we'd go every summer and do it. It was a good time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Word of advice to any race car drivers that want to do a rodeo: wait for a really ruddy track, suck that right rear in all the way to the bird cage, put 2 pounds of air in it, jack the front of the car up, release all your shocks, and giddy up. You'll be bouncing like one of the cowboys. So that was Friday. Saturday, gates open at 5 p.m. Action starts at 6:45, and of course that is the IRA night. I'll call it the IRA night, where it's lightning sprints, wingless and 410 wing cars, and that's $15 extra after admission, and then 11 and under are free. And then on Sunday, the demo derby starting at 1.
Right on.
And I saw one.
With a good demo derby.
I saw one of the classes.
Oh no.
Power wheels.
Dude, like my favorite thing that people do with the Power Wheels. Have you ever seen those videos on Facebook where it's where these full-grown men take like this Power Wheels truck and they take it down this really steep dirt hill,
yes,
and they see how far they can make it down. And usually every time, like they wipe out so bad. It was like, that actually looks like a lot of fun. I would actually want to do that.
And they're fueled by alcohol too.
Yeah.
Different alcohol-powered Power Wheels.
Yeah.
I was talking about the dirt hill, but yeah, an alcohol-powered Power Wheels, like sure, as long as we can fire them on alcohol, we can figure out a way to make them run on nitro too,
yeah.
can't we?
Awesome. So this comment's going to be a nice transition here. So Matt Roebuck says, Wilmot needs kids big wheel races on the track for kids' involvement. Yes. Now,
talk about the tricycle big wheel, right? The one big wheel up front.
That's
what big wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah. Just on the front shoot, even if it's a drag race.
Yeah.
So my very first taste of racing was a big wheel race at Lakehurst Mall with Mike Babbitts. I think Mike Babbitts was the one that put it on, and that was right. I mean, my dad and grandpa, and great uncles, they've raced, so I was like, well, I know I'm going to do that. But that was like the very first time I'm like, I like this. I really want to do it. I would need more than just me. I'd need a couple buddies to do it. So, we would hurt ourselves pretty good.
My uncle sent me a video this last week of just that. It's literally this giant race down these mountain passes, like mountain tunnels and everything. Like these guys are flying down these hills in these modified big wheels.
Kind of like the luge though, but just on big wheel.
Pretty much, yeah. And I mean, there's actual tactics to it, and you see the guy who's got he's doing his little what do you call a little camera, and you can tell sometimes he'll get on it and start pedaling really fast, and then he'll know when to get off, and then you see him take turns differently and kind of drift sometimes, and they're going fast. Really, not like you fast.
Yeah.
But
that's besides the point. They're going really fast on a mountain grade road or something.
I mean, I'd be a little concerned if they were going you fast. They slap jet engines to the back.
I mean, have you ever seen the Top Fuel motorcycles? Just to compare it to that,
those are insane.
Like Dave Antine or Larry McBride. You've seen those guys pop up on your newsfeed every once in a while. You probably had to have seen.
Yeah, no.
The guy dresses up as Spider-Man on the one. He calls himself Spider-Man. Larry Spider-Man McBride. Those things are going 270 in the quarter now, on 2 wheels. Yeah, at least those big wheels have 3.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
This guy goes 270 in the quarter on 2.
With top wheel drag, I gotta say, that's kind of scary. Right? That's a lot of power. But I'll tell you what, when that power's right between your legs on a motorcycle, it's
Yeah, nope.
That's-
I'll stick with my rear wings
that's a little scary.
and my giant rear slicks.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was my first taste of racing, was the Big Wheel race. And I see Matt Robach said he won the Big Wheel race in 1979 at Waukegan Speedway. That was the year that Waukegan closed as well, right? Maybe Matt won the last Big Wheel race there. That'd be something special. What was your first taste in racing?
Mine?
Yeah.
In terms of, I would imagine something probably similar to what you did, a big wheel race when you were like a little thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably it. But the one that I remember mostly was which pretty much set the hook for me in racing above all else was my father and my uncle made the mistake of taking me to one of the drag races at Route 66 when I was like 6 or 7. And it was a standard typical day up until the nitro cars came into the staging lanes and rolled into the water box. And as soon as I saw my first pair of nitro cars go down the track, I was like, I want to do that. and my thought process hasn't changed at all since then.
Oh.
And look at where it got me.
Yeah. So, racing, there's drivers that just don't really care what their numbers are or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how drag racing works with numbers. Like, when you see, like, the little numbers, I was like 7-11 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming TF is top fuel, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, like, what do those numbers mean on, like, when they put them on the car?
Well, when in drag racing, the first number that you always see, on the side of someone's car, whether it's the class or whatever, that first number that you always see is the district that they're out of. And the district determines on where you live in the country. Like, I'm out of NHRA District 3. So the first number of my license will always start with 3. Yep, it's because it's a district-based first number. And how people go about that, how they adjust it to, whether they find a way to make the number mean something to them. Like with me, my license number is 3113, 3113.
Okay.
And to me, that kind of means, the yin and yang. Like, where there's light, there's darkness, where there's good, there's evil. It just means balance. That's what the number means to me. My friend Chris King, who drives, he's the owner of a Nitro Funny car. He ran in Topeka this last weekend in Nitro Funny car, and his license number is 343. Which is the amount of firefighters who lost their lives during 9/11. So,
Okay.
And he's a Chicago firefighter.
Gotcha.
And, so he adapted that to his license number, and I think that that's a very honorable thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
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 Definitely a lot cooler than, what I have, but, I
Yeah.
figured, with 3113, it has my favorite number in there, the lucky 13. So I figured, if I'm going to throw the 13 in there, might as well flip it around backwards and make it into a yin yang effect and be as creative with it as I could.
Okay. Yeah. So drivers can still pick their numbers. It just has to start with that district number first.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
If I could have any license number I'd want, it would be 9999. Because somebody has to have the highest possible number. Yeah, but I don't think there's a District 9, and I don't think that that number is possible. So.
No, it's 4 digits, not 5, right?
I mean, it could be 4 digits.
4 digits?
Yeah, 1 to 4.
Okay.
Well,
So, yeah,
talking
it's,
about numbers.
Yeah.
Talking about numbers. What would you say? Do you know what's the fastest you've ever gone?
The fastest that I've ever gone was actually during one of my licensing runs, and that was the quickest elapsed time that I ran was a 394 in 1,000 foot, and the quickest speed I had was 308.
Wow.
The last race that I ran, we had some gremlins with the car. It was the car was there, but I hate to sound like I'm making excuses, but the next time we're definitely going to get after that 3.8 that the leverage car deserves.
Yeah. Okay. How about because I know some of our people may or may not notice this, but what is your fuel ratios like?
The easiest way to describe the fuel ratio is gallons per mile.
Okay.
And a top fuel engine will burn through a gallon of nitro at idle every 12 seconds.
Gosh.
So
She's thirsty.
Yep, yeah. At idle, a gallon of fuel lasts you about 12 seconds, and at wide open throttle, you burn 2 gallons a second.
Wow, 2 gallons a second.
And with the fuel being $40 to $50 a gallon, depending on the nitro market, it's you go through just for a warm up and a run that's like $2,000 worth of fuel.
Well, so my second car was built next to TJ Zizzo's car. So I got to like see that thing just bare frame with the motor and without the body.
Yep.
And I was like amazed at the fuel pickup. Like the line is like huge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that makes more sense. It's got to burn through
A
two
lot.
2 gallons a second.
Well, I know this was a question that someone had written in, and we've got someone who's also asking it. So, what people want to know is, are you more concerned with the clock or the person next to you when you're racing? Or
When
does it
when you're qualifying, it's all about the clock.
Okay.
So when you're qualifying, it really doesn't matter when you leave the tree, as long as you put a number up on the board. That's what matters when you qualify.
Okay.
On race day, the biggest thing is about safety.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your car in the groove, keep it in your lane, keep it away from the wall, and keep it out of the other lane.
Mm-hmm.
And try to get to the line first.
So with the qualifying run, it doesn't matter when you leave the tree. When you leave the tree, that's when your time starts.
Yeah, when you leave the line, that's when your time starts. Like my first run in competition, it was a night run at St. Louis last year, and it had been 17 months since I had driven a top fuel car when I made that run. And the only run that I had in between, that 17 months off and getting back into the seat at St. Louis 17 months later was one run in an alcohol funny car. So,
I mean, I bet
and I remember when I was rolling up to, get position to pre-stage, I rolled up a little bit too far and I didn't react to being told to stop quick enough. And I remember, the girl that rolled me up, up to pre-stage, her name's Becky. She came up to the windshield, was like, "You got this much room, before you hit pre-stage." So right when I, let go of the brake and slide the clutch, like I was already full staged.
Oh.
So I double bulbed it right away, and I knew that I haven't high-sided the motor yet or put a load on the clutch. So I was like, all right, like you're just gonna do this at your own pace, grab the brake, and the light was already green at this point. So, I grabbed a handful of brake, high-sided the motor, waited for the engine to catch up to the fuel introduced to it, dumped the clutch, sat there for a little bit, and then I punched it.
Yeah, and I know when you say you sat there for a long time, as drivers, you're like, yeah, that's a long time. But from someone watching, it was just like a half second or a second.
Right.
It just feels so much longer when you're in it.
Yeah, like my reaction time on that time slip, what I remember, was 1.2 seconds.
Oh, that's pretty good.
No, if I ever hear that again, oh boy! And some people were asking, like, how come your reaction time was that long? And I was like, well, the reason why it was that long was because I double bulbed it,
Mm-hmm.
and I hadn't high-sided the motor or put a load on the clutch. So it was like, I noticed that, and I was like, okay, like you're gonna do this at your own pace now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, like that makes a lot more sense, because I was curious as to why you were just sitting there for so long. It's like, well, and now you know.
Yeah. So when you're qualifying,
And then the next run, which is when we had the crankshaft fail.
oh,
I actually, I treed Tony Schumacher. I had a better reaction time, and that was, my second run. So, the highlight of the weekend was I treed Tony Schumacher.
that's pretty good because I don't follow NHRA drag racing, and I know who Tony Schumacher is.
And Tony Schumacher, like, I remember when I was a kid, like, he was one of my biggest heroes out there. Very, he inspired me a lot to pursue the dream and get out there. And, but then, when the crankshaft went, the NHRA, had, a side-by picture of my car, when it was on fire. And, like, on, like, page 7 of the NHRA magazine. So, the highlight of the weekend was I treated Tony Schumacher, but, the engine fire obviously wasn't the way how you would want to make a highlight reel.
But hey, at least you have a good memory from that fireball. You're like, that's the day I treat Schumacher.
Yeah, it taught me a lot. It was, I kept it in my lane. I kept it away from the wall. I kept it out of Schumacher's lane, and brought the car to a stop. And other people were kind enough to stop by the pit and give me pointers, such as Cameron Ferret, Terry Haddock, are like, hey, like next time you have a big boomer like that, like try to get out of the groove so that way you don't oil the track down. And I was like, I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
So with me being so new to the sport, all I could do was hang on and just bring the car to a stop safely. But now that I know more things now,
yeah,
I have a better way and a better mindset to approach such a situation shall it arise again.
That's really cool to see, like, because that's one thing, like, I feel like mainly sprint cars, but a lot of the dirt racing too is like they look out for each other.
Yeah.
So that's really nice to see, like, the drag racing, because I'm sure, I know, because I did a little bit of research just about like how many people have died doing it. Like, I feel like the more deadly the racing is, the more people are like, well, we'll make sure that you're safe and you know what to do, but we're not going to give you all our speed secrets.
Yeah.
And that's all you want as a new guy, right? You're just like, I just want to be safe. I don't want to take this thing to the wall. I see we had a comment here. I want to ask him, see if he knows. Jeff Curcio, why are they called funny cars?
The reason why I know they called them funny cars was kind of like a gimmick that surrounded the type of car back in the 1960s. Okay. I don't know exactly for sure why they called them funny cars, but it has something to do with a little gimmick that was around the car class back in the 1960s.
Okay, cool. Ray Stevens, DC, I'll show you pictures of the insides of that. Yes, please. I would love to see an inside of that.
Yeah, but still, nonetheless. I learned a lot that weekend. It was my debut. I want to thank, Gary Leverage, the owner of the Leverage Racing Team, very much for allowing me to make my debut and, operate his equipment. And still working with him to this day to get out there and kick ass and take names. It's, Gary and I get along really well, and, almost every common interest that we have, it aligns, like vintage video games, modern video games, and I can go on for all the other common interests that him and I have. It's almost freaky.
NASCAR 2005. That's
Chase for the Cup, hero villain.
Yes, that's the best NASCAR game that's ever come out.
Oh, totally. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Here, so topic 3 here. Because we got some questions, and we have some more because we have so many.
We have a lot of questions.
Yes. So topic 3 here is just kind of like you're an up-and-coming Top Fuel racer, or pilot, I should say, right? Mm-hmm. It's the full term is pilot, which is pretty cool to pilot something that's that explosive down the track.
Explosive. You're practically, it doesn't, if you're driving a dragster, you're sitting behind a bomb. If you're driving a funny car, you're sitting in front of it. In a dragster, you're sitting in front of the bomb, and a funny car, you're sitting behind
it. Yeah.
And the sound difference, I'm not trying to derail this too quickly, but I'll try to, keep it quick and clean. But in a Top Fuel car, this is something that I think I have to say. It's because not a lot of people think about it. Is you have a titanium shield, behind your helmet, to protect you, from debris, shrapnel, and stuff like that in case, the rear wing fails, or, if you have a critical engine failure, protect you from anything that's behind you. So in the dragster, you have that titanium shield around you, and the sound is directed away from you. So the noise is
more muffled then?
It is, yes. Okay. And outside of the Top Fuel cars, they're so loud they shake the ground with a miniature earthquake. And when you're driving one, it's you have the insulated helmet and the sound's directed away from you and that shield's behind you. And it's to the point where I don't see the need to wear earplugs inside the cars because the noise is actually not that bad.
Tolerable, yeah.
It's very tolerable. To be honest, it's actually, the noise volume was actually louder for me to drive one of Frank Hawley's Super Comp cars with a standard naturally aspirated 572 Chevy than it was for me to drive a top fuel car. Like it's a completely ass backwards different concept.
I never would have thought that.
But no, it's actually like the noise actually isn't that bad at all.
They just save the volume for us fans.
Yeah, but that's the fun, right?
But if you're driving a funny car, when you're driving into the sound, that's a different story.
I have not even been to like Great Lakes.
Well, we gotta fix that.
I know. So you gotta let me know when your schedule's out, because like I would love to come out just absorb it.
Let's fix that.
Yeah, so this topic is just kind of like talking to Jake here about like how his operation or like how he works and how he got into doing top fuel, because I mean I know we got a question here that we'll get to that kind of, because to me it's like there's a lot of work, a lot of money that goes into it for 3 seconds, or was it 3.7
3.8
3.8 or whatever, so like how did you even get hooked up to what you're doing now?
Well, it started, when I was walking the pits in 2019. I was looking for, a place to go, a place where I can learn, and I was talking with Tony Zizzo.
Great guy.
I kind of told him, it's like, I want to drive top fuel one day. I want to learn how to work on them, and he said to me, it's like, hey, like, give me your number, I'll give you mine, and I'll call you after the event. And the Thursday after the event, he called me, and he said to me, if you want to do this, and if you want to learn how to work on them, it's like, you should probably hang out with us and get to, know what you're getting yourself into. It's because if you are serious about getting your top fuel license, you should know the ins and outs of a car before you get into it.
And that's a good point, because like anyone that comes up to me is like, how do I get into it? It's like, just go in the pits, find the division you want to race with, and just start talking to those people, because like everyone's looking for help. And then there's, in sprint car racing, I'm sure in drag racing too, there's a lot of junk out there for sale too. So like you might be like, oh, this is a great deal, and then you get it, and then you have someone experienced come and they're like, well, it's garbage, like so like just hanging out with those people and just getting the information and knowledge really helps the new guy, such as yourself, and like myself too, when we did that. So sorry to derail there, but like that's a really good point of like anyone that's wanting to get into any kind of racing, like go to the track, walk the pits.
Yep, and if there's when people open their door to you, it's they want to teach you, they want to share their knowledge with you, and I went from a guy who walked the ropes. I don't come from money. Like, my parents were, middle class. My mother's an accountant, my father's an electrician. I run heavy equipment for a living. So I didn't, have any, backing from family friends going into it or from the family either. It was just, I socked my money away for a nitro testing session. I went through Frank Hawley's drag racing school to get the prerequisite licenses I needed, such as Super Comp and Top Dragster, before I made the jump into a fuel car. And I only, went forward with trying the top fuel car, based on a professional opinion where Frank Hawley said I shouldn't have a problem. And he said to me, he's like, if Del Worsham, asked me about you, I was like, hey, like, what do you think of Jacob? How do you think he'll do? He's like, let Jacob try your car. He shouldn't have a problem. So I wanted him to tell me, no, I don't think you can handle it, just as much as I wanted him to tell me yes. It's because at that time I would have finally had some closure. But I got my license. I took the Frank Hawley's Top Dragster program in March of 2021, and the following month in April, after the 4-wide event, I called Jeff Arend, who works with Del Worsham on licensing, and and I asked him if he knew what Del's schedule was, and he's like, yeah, let me give him a call, and he'll give you a call. So after I talked to Jeff and kind of asked that first question to get something rolling, I got a phone call from Del about 5 minutes later. He's like, hey, do you want to test in Vegas? And I'm like, sure. Yeah,
let me
let's do
think
it.
about that for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
kind of interesting. I never would imagine I mean, to get a license. That's essentially what I'm getting at. But like, I guess with the amount of like power you're running, you want to make sure that someone knows what they're doing behind the wheel of a drag racing car.
I mean, like a quote that I've heard is, a lot of people talk about driving Top Fuel, but very few come up with, the money to test, and even less can actually drive or put one down the track.
Yeah. I mean, with sprint racing,
I say that, because it's how I read it. It's those aren't my words. Those that came from somebody who I hold a lot of respect towards, and it's the biggest thing about nitro. This is just my perspective on being introduced to one. As much I want to pick your brain about what it's like driving one of those sprint cars, but I only have 10 runs on the Top Fuel car, so I have a lot to learn still. But the biggest things that stand out to me with me starting out in the sport is one is the worst enemy of getting into that car. Like, it isn't the car, it's you. Like, you are your own worst enemy. And the biggest thing that you have to worry about is your fight, flight, or freeze reflex.
Oh, yeah.
If you fight it too hard, you're gonna go towards the wall, you're gonna go towards the center line, or you're gonna hit the wall, or you're gonna hit the wall on the other side of the track. If you flight, you're going to get out of the throttle, and depending on how many times you do that, you may spend more and more and more and more money making those extra runs. It's because that nitro and those parts aren't going to pay for themselves.
Yeah.
And if you freeze, obviously you're going to mash the pedal, and your body isn't going to do anything, and the car's just a blind dart at that point. So it's I would say when it comes to getting into a car like that will be the biggest thing to worry about.
Have you ever got yourself in those 10 runs into a situation where you're like, uh-oh? Or have your runs gone pretty smooth right now? Which would be good. Which would be really good. Right?
It was when the crankshaft went, it happened so quick I couldn't react to it.
Okay.
It gave me no warning indication, no nothing. Like, there was no way I would have been able to react to it. No, nothing. It just went. When I was in Gainesville, I heard, this was the final qualifying session of the event. The motor popped, the blower belt came off, and I was out of the throttle at around 800 foot, and the team owner and I came to a mutual agreement where I got out of the throttle because I heard a pop.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So, all right. Because I feel you guys are nuts. There's only really two people that when people say sprint car drivers are nuts, I'm like, no, there's two more, and that's motocross and drag racers.
I'll tell you what, those rallycross guys.
Those guys are a different breed.
They are. That's exact phrase that I say every time. Like, we've talked about it. I'm like, I always say that. I'm like, those guys, they're a different breed, man. That's like, they don't know. They're just like, hey, the guy next to you is going to read you off some instructions. Send it. Yeah.
Based on what he's telling you, go.
Yeah.
Hard left in 600 yards. Hard right. Hard left. Hard right. It's like,
right. And it's like, but I think it's like crazy in a different way. Like, I'll tell you what, that's just crazy. But then also on the flip side of it, like what you guys do, the amount of power sitting right behind you, man, that's got to be pretty eye-opening to sit there.
And Ray Stevens here, crankshaft failed at well over 200 miles an hour.
The car was probably at around 500, 550 foot when the crank went, so the car was probably doing every bit of 230, 240. Whew. Maybe faster.
No, I want to do is just stop, man. Oh. Or I take that back too. As in motocross, but also super bikes, Isle of Man.
Oh yeah, Ironman TT.
No.
Dude.
No way.
I would say
No
that's
way.
probably,
That's
definitely
nuts.
top.
That-
Like, people legit die.
That's what Nathan's pointing to.
Yeah.
Is Isle of Man.
Yeah, I'm like down here.
And sprint cars are like underneath a little bit more. Like, dude,
Like, how can you say that your racing is up there? People die in that race. Like
every year.
And multiple people every year.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Like,
insane.
I want to go there. Like, I don't like flying. I hate flying, but like that would probably be like where I'd be like, okay.
You ever seen like the videos of the guys who are just sitting on the road?
Oh yeah,
and,
like, they're
it's like,
ripping
like
like far from the guy.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I'm gonna butcher this, and we're getting off topic. So I'm sorry, but like,
Oh, not really. We talk about everything racing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, we do. Two wheels, yeah. I forgot the guy's name, but he just broke the lap record for the ILTT, one
Jeez.
lap. And dude, there's like a couple minutes that I was sweating watching because like, I mean, just like this far from one wall goes out to this other, and I'm like, man, this guy's committed.
The
Like
speed that they're going, like
No, like, every
they
time
make
I
it
watch a
around.
video about Isle of Man, I have horrible anxiety.
yeah, yeah, because
I
you're like,
you get the distance,
You know,
yeah.
the distance and like how long it takes them, like that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, my fingernails. Even though I bite the absolute crap out of them, like I
Yeah.
have my whole life. But
Yeah.
every time I watch a video like that, it's like all of them are like 100% shorter.
Yeah, and you're just like, well, the video's 7 minutes, so he must live. Right? Or 12 minutes, you're like, he's still going. You're like, oh man.
Yeah, and Godspeed, God bless, and may God rest the souls of all those brave men that have
Seriously.
unfortunately lost their lives trying to tackle that course.
I mean, in hindsight, right? Like, if any one of us here could pick the way we'd want to die, like, I would want to die in a sprint car, like, lights out. Like, and I know Ashley, I'm sorry, babe, but like, she doesn't want to hear that. But like, if I could pick,
Well, I'm in my
any way-
bed and not knowing a thing about it.
Yeah, that's
me. That's me.
That's you.
I'll take
No,
that. I'll
like,
take that.
no, because like, I mean, I've only had like one or two. Not that I've ever thought like going into a crash like I'm gonna die,
Mhm.
but like just how fast it happens, you like don't even have like a tenth of a second to think about what's gonna like. You might get this is gonna, and then you're done. You're getting out of the car, right? And it's like, well, that's the way I want to go, but. But yeah,
Wow,
so like those,
pretty.
so like those Isle of Men, like they probably never saw it coming. Like that's
Oh,
just
yeah,
the way
I'm sure.
yeah, just doing what you love to do, and that's how everyone. Yeah, see, actually, I don't like that. I knew it.
Well,
I'm sorry.
From one morbid subject to a different subject.
Yes.
We had some people that were really interested to know about the parachute. Like, is it hard to repack them? Like, how many uses can you get out of them? Like, what they want to know about the parachutes.
Yeah, the parachutes, as long as you follow the same technique of refold them every time, it's repacking them as a two-man job. It's because the reason why it's a two-man job is because of the pilot chute, which is that the mini parachute with that big spring on the back. That's why it's a two-man job.
Yeah.
There's one person that needs to hold the pilot spring down so the other individual can fold the flaps from the parachute bags over the pilot chute and kind of fold them. The way we fold it is let me see, it's the top flap, then the bottom one, then the right and the left. And you kind of have to pull them towards, towards the center of the pack, with which is basically, just a small tether rope,
Right.
or a tie string. And after you, and then you tie the loop of the pilot chute in with, the parachute cables, and then a safety pin. Which is what prevents the chutes from deploying in the event where you're rolling the car up to the water box or the staging lanes, and prevents the parachute from coming out. But always before you make that run, you have to make sure that those safety pins are pulled
Oh
out.
yeah, I'm sure.
So, do you pack your own chute, or do you have someone else pack it?
I work with another crew member with packing mine.
Okay, so you do have your hands.
Yep.
And yeah, I would not trust.
Yeah,
you.
usually I'm the one that always pushes the pilot chute in because that's the more physically demanding job.
Okay.
It's just stand on your tippy toes and throw all your body weight into that pilot chute, and that thing won't go anywhere.
Wow.
How do you know when to replace it? Like, do you guys do you count how many times they're used, or is it just like, oh, it looks like there's a hole starting to form, time to replace it?
That, and the parachutes last long enough. I believe, the parachutes have an SFI life expectancy. Like, I'm not exactly sure, but I would imagine, the parachutes are, critical to the point where it's like a helmet or a neck restraint where they can only be so many years old before they would be ineligible for use.
Now,
I'm not exactly sure about that.
Is there like a backup if that parachute fails to deploy? Or you just cross your fingers and hope you're okay?
Always want the parachutes to come out. You always want them to come out.
So there's only one.
No, 2 chutes.
Well, there are
two
two
parachutes on the top.
Okay. Okay. But I mean, I guess so. If they don't deploy, there's
do whatever you can
to stop.
Do whatever you can.
Yeah.
Because your brakes
grab on that brake and
Yeah.
do whatever you can to bring that car to a stop, and that's the only thing that'll be going through your mind.
Because the brakes do work pretty good, they just don't work as good with the parachute.
I mean, those are carbon fiber rotors, so the hotter they get, the better they work.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jeez.
Okay.
Cool.
What other questions do we have? Because I know there's a good one in there.
There is a good one in there. Maybe we'll save that one for the last.
Yeah, Okay.
What are your hobbies outside of the track?
My hobbies outside of the track, it's I'm a video gamer. For both modern gaming and vintage gaming. I got an Alienware laptop at home that I spent a lot more money on it than I wanted to, but
I'm sure
at least I could take all my games with me everywhere.
What is it, like
the Area 51?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, the good gaming laptop. Yeah, it was. Other than that, I am an avid collector of vinyl records, antique clocks, and typewriters.
Okay, cool.
Typewriters. That one's different.
Yeah.
That one's definitely.
I just saw this video of this guy's like, my professor outlawed laptops in the class.
Oh yeah,
So
he
he
brought
brought
a
a
typewriter.
typewriter.
Yeah, classic college lecture prank. I write with them. I'm writing a couple of manuscripts right now just to kill spare time, and there's something therapeutic about writing. It's it's a great relief of stress. Because it occupies your thoughts and interests. When you're putting something down. And, to me, it's a great way to relieve stress, and it's a good coping mechanism to, work with, bouts of anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a great way to deal with that.
Yeah. I've written before, and I don't really write that much, but, when I speed skated, the coach would always have us write a journal or whatever, how we're feeling and stuff. And it's kind of, I got rid of them now, but, before I got rid of them, I read them, that's really weird. I didn't know I thought like that. I felt like this in this moment where it's well, yeah. Yeah, so writing is pretty good for stress, yeah. What other questions do we got? I know. I want that question. He knows it's coming too, so that's the best part.
Okay. We'll get to the question. From an avid writer what is the point?
What is the point of Top Fuel?
Yeah. What is the point of Top Fuel drinks?
There is no point. It's because it's the grossest, rawest, most insane display of horsepower that humanity can provide. Because we're talking about a 500 cubic inch V8 that burns more fuel per second at wide open throttle than a 747 that's fully loaded at full tilt. So what is the point of that? I don't know, but it's entertaining.
To do it.
It's just a flex.
Yeah.
It's a flex.
I'm not sure if it's a flex. It's because there's absolutely no point to it.
Because we can.
Yeah, that's it. It's because we can.
Yeah. Because race car? No, because we can.
Because we can.
Yeah.
Yes,
because
exactly.
The bigger, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically to that,
that it's also good for business. You got to remember that the sponsors are also all over that.
Yes. It's
a good time for me to give a shout out to my sponsors about that.
Let's do that.
The Illinois State AFL-CIO, they sponsor me in my debut. The Chicago Federation of Labor, they sponsor me to promote the Proud Union Home campaign. My union, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, Nelson Trucking, he helps me promote Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. It's a nonprofit charity foundation and a mentorship program to help kids in need. I myself have a mentor of that program,
Okay.
and looking forward to finishing the year strong, and also representing Goodson on today's podcast.
Nice.
They're a
Awesome.
product sponsor for Leverage Racing, and love having them on board.
Yes. Where can we find you on social media?
On Instagram, my handle is NitroJakeTF, and on Facebook, it's just search my first and last name, Jake Opatrny, Opatrny, and it'll take you right to my racing page and my personal profile.
Awesome. And there was one more question. Is there?
What is this last question?
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
That was it. That was it.
I mean, like there were some that we had that
No,
I feel like we kind of touched on.
Oh,
Yeah.
The last one was, what is the point?
Yeah. What
Right.
is the point?
Right.
Would you drive a sprint car?
There
Sign me up.
But
Yeah.
he already kind
I'd
of
love
said
to
that.
try.
Yeah.
I'd love to try
It was,
one.
would you drive a sprint car? Which I feel like he already touched on because he said he would. Who is your mentor / idol? But you kind of.
Well, no, it's there's a couple other people that I could that I'm very thankful for showing me the way and being mentors of mine along the way, and got to thank the Zizzos for that, Tony, TJ, and all those guys. Tony Zizzo, TJ Zizzo, got to thank them for introducing me to being a member of a Nitro Pit, and all the years I spent with them. Then along came also still get a lot of helpful advice and wisdom from Terry Totten, who's the owner of a top Fuel Dragster himself. He's out of Gretna, Nebraska. And Gary Leverage, the guy who I drive for now, team owner. He teaches me everything he knows, and thankful for all those guys.
Awesome. Yes. Well, we are almost done. But how can we be done before the game? We have to play Highside or Lowside.
I actually forgot about the game for a second.
Yeah.
So remind me how this works again?
Yes. Okay. The game is called Highside or Lowside. So you are the guest, so you get to pick between questions 1 and 6 that I'll ask you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I did some research and they're all on Top Fuel, and I think I only heard one of the answers said. So I was like, oh, okay, good, because I was a little worried that you guys were going to go through like everything, and I'm like, oh, well, everyone's going to know the answer already. So Jake, you're going to pick between 1 and 6. I'll read you that question. The answer is a number. You just have to give me the best guess that you can. If you don't know it,
So the answer is a number?
is a number.
Okay.
Yep. And then, if you get it right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, Brandon can steal if he wants, and all he has to say is if the number is higher or lower than the number you've given. But if he gets it wrong, he loses a point. Okay.
Let's do it.
And then we play back and forth. So, I got a notebook for this time. Because last time I was having a tough problem. All right. 1 through 6, Jake.
5.
5. Oh, boy. Okay. Let me write here.
Are you changing the question on me?
No, I forgot to write your guys' name at the bottom of the page so I know which ones you
So you
guys
keep
grabbed.
score.
Yeah, keep score.
He's trying to make you win.
No, I lost last time, but it was like right up. It was a photo finish.
Yes, it was
a photo finish.
It was good. And I really appreciate Brandon because like he has no idea what questions I ask and he just has a good time with it. So I appreciate you.
Try.
In a future episode, Brandon will be coming up with the questions to put me on the spot. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so Jake picked 5.
Mm-hmm.
How many seconds does it take a top fuel dragster to get to 100 miles per hour?
0.8.
That is 2 points. 0.8.
I mean, he would know that. He would know that.
Wow.
I would have just said less than a second.
Oh man, yeah, less than a second. Fast as Brandon. 1 through 4 or 6?
2.
2. How many gallons of fuel does a top fuel dragster burn in one run?
In one run.
Oh my
gosh.
This is according to Google, so these answers could be wrong, but I tried to do my best to weed out the Wikipedia stuff.
Am I allowed to ask one question?
What?
How long does it typically take from start to finish?
From the start up to
Average.
the shut off.
Yeah.
Start up to
start
shut off.
I mean, I should say from green to end.
From green to
finish line.
end. From green to end, you're looking at anywhere between 4.1 to 3.6.
Okay.
From start up to shut off, you're looking at around 90 seconds.
Okay. So, let's see. And your online is just from start to finish, or in the full run?
That's just
Just
what
the
I
full
found.
run.
I would assume that they're. I mean, if I know Google and the the algorithm, the algorithms of it, they're asking like how much does it burn in a pass,
In the past. Okay.
which is green light to shut off. So that's how I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, all I can do is basic math, which is you said it goes through like a gallon a second or something like that. That was like 12.
Don't
gallons
give
a
him any
second.
hints. Don't give
I'm
him
not
any hints.
telling you
Yeah,
anything.
You
I
got
don't
your
know.
question.
Let's go for like 30 gallons. I don't know.
30
It's probably really
gallons.
it's higher. I'm sure.
That
Is it
is
a
wrong.
good-
That
yeah.
is wrong. High side or low side?
So, yeah. So you think it's
said
lower
low?
than that?
Yeah, low side.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and
That's
it
right.
is lower. What would it be?
12.
12. Yeah.
12? Okay, Google said 15.
See, I was doing different.
So-
Yeah,
Okay.
from green light to shut off, that's roughly.
I had
about
the right
12
number I
gallons.
was
But
using,
from
which
start
was
up
12.
and burn out, back up,
Yeah.
and then the run itself, it's like 14 to 15.
14, okay.
Yeah. So I was gonna
Okay.
say I remember the number 12, but I just did I was trying to
Yeah.
get the math wrong.
I don't trust Google as much.
What are you talking about? It's the all-knowing. It's the almighty power.
I know.
Always trust the internet. Come on, everybody knows that.
Yeah, everybody knows that everything on the internet's true.
What Wikipedia says is fact.
It is. Because anybody at any time in the world can put what they know about the subject.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's an office reference.
It's off the net. All right.
Yep. And with me, being surrounded by a couple of Office fanboys, I'm an uncultured swine.
Great way of putting it. All right, Jake, 1, 3, 4, or 6?
One.
1. Okay, I was hoping you were gonna get this one because you might be able to tell me if this is wrong or not. I don't
Okay.
know. What is the fastest top fuel run in history, miles per hour?
338 I believe it's 338.67.
I mean, I should have said to the nearest
Mile per hour.
hour per hour. I should have said. I mean, yeah, it's 338.9.
Oh yeah, so just a couple
Yeah.
of tenths off.
But yeah, I should have said. Well, I said mile per hour.
That would count.
Yeah, that's gonna count.
That's gonna
Yeah.
count.
Man, he's 2 for 2 right now.
That's gotta count.
All right, Brandon.
3.
3. I feel bad for you that you grabbed
Oh,
this
gosh.
one.
Can I change it?
Oh, is that
Can
the
I
hard
change
one?
it?
Let him change it.
Let me change
I already-
it.
okay.
Give me a chance.
Okay.
Give me 6.
I'll take
I'll
3.
take 6.
You'll take 6. What year did the NHRA shorten the track from 1,320 foot to 1,000 feet?
You sure this wasn't the hard one?
No, this one's not that hard. The other one,
The other one would be worse.
yeah. We're talking a year. The other one is split in atoms.
Oh gosh. What year? Oh gosh. I wouldn't even know. 1995? I don't know.
I'd be wrong. Jake.
Highside.
Highside.
2008.
2008.
Ah.
Yes. So, alrighty. Jake, do you want to take 3?
I will.
Okay. What is the average reaction time record?
The average reaction time record.
Now I know there's controversy, or I heard some. I was reading some stuff about this.
Jeez. I would imagine it's probably in the. This is just a number I'm going to pull out of my butt.
Hang on, wait, before you answer. To the nearest hundredth.
To the nearest hundredth.
Yeah, I told you we're splitting atoms.
56.
So I found point, or wait, it's wrong.
It's
High
wrong.
side or low side?
Low.
That would be correct. It was lower. What I found was, oh, you broke even.
There we go.
0.039
The average reaction time?
record.
Wow.
But I heard there was something with, was it Ashley Force that did like a .001 or 3 or something that just happened to be on luck, but there's there's some sort of rule that says it has to be within a certain time or whatever.
I mean, I've seen a Cruz Pedregon get a perfect light before on a Pro Tree in a nitro car. Like every once in a while, you see it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the only reason I knew that it was lower because I actually have seen something on this. Like I was actually watching. I was actually watching like something that was talking about the drag race, and they had like a testing facility where like they have people come up and you can like test your reaction time. They were talking about the fastest reaction time.
And it's like in a nitro car, it's like if you want a reaction time that's good, it's like you're pretty much just guessing.
Yeah.
When that light's gonna come on. So your brain may even may tell your right foot to go when the lights aren't even on, and then when the lights come on, the butterflies open up, and at that point the engine's playing catch up with itself, and right when the light turns yellow and your car just crosses the line at just that incremental, or just that right fraction of a second, to the point where the run's still eligible.
That's nuts.
Yeah, you know what? It's with the way that I drive the car now, it's I go when I know for sure that I see green, because I'm still real new to the sport and I have a lot to learn still. So I sit there after staging the car and it's ready to go. It's like, all right, there are the yellow, there are the ambers. You see them. Are you sure that you see them? Mm-hmm. Yes. And then I let go of the brake and go. So,
all right, Brandon.
Last
question. Okay. Number 4. How many? Now, I know this is up for, again, this is Google, what I found on Google, okay?
The Google.
How many horsepower is a top fuel dragster? And we're talking whole horsepower. Not we're not going half horsepower and 3/4 and all that stuff.
Oh, man. See, I'm like, in my head, I'm trying to go through, like...
I will tell you it's in the thousands.
Yeah, I know that much. The cars that are over 1,000. Man. I'm sure this is probably low. I'm only going with stuff that I've seen. I don't know, maybe like. I feel like I'm gonna be way off, but like let's go with like 5,000 horsepower.
Highside or Lowside?
High. 11.
11,000.
See, my initial thought was to say 10.
Yeah, and I see the number 12 being pushed around every once in a while.
I thought about
that. It's like I don't know. It's how much horsepower is a top fuel dragster? Enough.
Wow. So the total score is Jake 6, Brandon 0. Hey, but at least you broke even.
0, I'll take it.
Yeah, you broke even.
I'll take it.
Wow. Well, that has been a fun podcast. It is a little bit later than we wanted,
anticipated,
but and I'm so glad you're going to be gone next week too. So I'm really hoping that
he is genuinely concerned that I'm gone for the next 2 weeks. Literally
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yep.
Well, anyone, I want to thank you on behalf of. I want to thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for
putting up with me. And, thank you for putting up with us and our shenanigans and staying with us till the end of until this episode. And I personally want to thank you for your time and letting us entertain you for the evening.
Yes, and if you guys are listening to Spotify and you're still listening to this, thank you so much. Head over to Facebook, 7 p.m. Central, and you can comment on our live and interact with us. Brandon, who would you like to thank?
Obviously, I'd like to thank my wife, Angela, and I'd like to place a shout-out to Daybreak Church.
Shout out.
For putting up with our shenanigans.
Yes.
Family, friends, the people that keep us going, right? Yeah, and you for including me and my non-racing knowledge. Car knowledge, yes. Office knowledge, for sure. You got it. Well, racing knowledge?
It's so funny, too, because I told Brandon, I was like, I have this idea, like, after this race season and in the winter, I'm going to want to host, like, a Spotify podcast or whatever. And he's like, well, we can do it now. So this is all thanks to Brandon here. So thank you, Brandon. Jake, who would you like to thank?
I want to tie in, a couple more sponsors that have helped me along the way. I want to thank my cousin John, owner of Foundation Mechanics. I also want to thank my friend Joe Wagner out of New Jersey, the owner of Automotion Training and Consulting Services, for assisting me in Route 66. And last but not least, I want to thank my family and friends for putting up with all my nonsense and shenanigans and having to listen to me obsess about nitro for as long as you've known me. So from then on until today, it's, just thank you for putting up with me. I'm sorry, and once again, thanks.
Awesome. And
then, one more thing. Dave Nelson, love you, brother. Thank you.
Yes. Dave is the man. They say Dan's the man. Dave.
Which is funny because I have a friend named Dave Mann.
Dave the man, huh?
Dave.
First name Dave, last name Mann.
Wow. All right, and then on our side, I'd like to thank Kroger Delivery, Next Gen Pumps, Fat for Rouge Helmets, Bain Nelson Inc., RevTag Manufacturing, Open Fender, Apt Electronics, Ashley Bree Photography, Pit Road Apparel, Jack's Helmet Design, Carbon Digital, Forever Guard, Daybreak Church, and then, of course, my loving wife, Ashley, mom and dad, Al, and BG Wood for giving me the opportunity to drive the 14 AJ. Dave, Schützen, Maddie, Jimmy I.E., Brandon, Zen, Jack, Jessica, and, of course, Big One fan Kyle.
I think we have to, do a special thanks for, BG and his crew, because, they just opened up their pit and their doors to, me and Dave and all the other random people that we just come through, but they're so helpful and knowledgeable, and they're okay, yeah, more help, cool, and they're just quick to bring you up to speed on what you need to do. That was just the coolest thing coming in that first day. I'm okay, I don't want to step on anybody's feet, and they're okay, this is all you really need to worry about. They're teaching me right away, okay, when it comes on, you grab this little thing, we're gonna get off all that dirt, and I'm jumping onto tires and wheels right away, and they were probably just happy that they didn't have to seat that tire that first day, because I'll tell you what, as that tire started to fill up more and more, I was
blowing.
And they're sweet, new guy, he'll do it.
Wheels,
he'll do it.
Yeah.
So thanks, you guys, for just being so awesome and helpful, and letting us just have fun with you guys. Thank you.
And the last bit of information here. Next week's guest hint. He is known as Initials. Not to the world, but to some people. So that is your hint for next week's guest on the 21st, 7 p.m. Central. And then thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been great. Jake, one last, where can they find you on social media?
My Instagram handle is NitroJakeTF, and where they can find me on my racing profile and my public profile, it's Jake, last name Opatrny, Opatrny.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you at a track soon, and if not, see you next week. Peace out, Girl Scout.